Hello. I hope this finds you all healthy and happy. My goodness, it's been a long, long time, hasn't it? And I am here to do a video for you. It's just a little Christmas card. And I'll show you the little sketch I have here. It's just very simple, very, very simple little sketch. And I decided to go ahead and use masking fluid on it instead of leaving my white paper. I may still leave some white paper in different places, but we're going to work in watercolors. And so let's get started. And I have my M-Gram palette here. I have a very small palette that I have kind of developed myself, just from colors that I will use more than any others by buying just single tubes of the M-Gram paint. I still use my Mission Gold paints. I love them as well. I like paint with watercolor paint with a honey base. Now you may hear in the background my air conditioning went out several months ago or a few months ago, and they reinstalled an air conditioner for me, and it sounds like forevermore like an airplane taking off, spooling up to take off, and so anyway, you may hear that in the background, and I do apologize for that if you do. I am using Canson watercolor greeting cards here. I know there's a glare, and the paper's pretty nice. It's, of course, they're the watercolor, I'm trying to see. It's 300 GSM, so it's 140 pound cold press Montval, Canson Montval watercolor card. And I like these. Oh, there's some masking fluid on. I like these. I used some last year for Christmas cards. And so let's get started. I already have some of my Prussian blue with a little bit of Payne's gray mixed up here. I did a sky on something else, and so I have some more of that left, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to spray my paints a little bit here. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. My very favorite brushes are my black velvet, my silver black velvets, and I'll probably be using most of those. I don't know if I mentioned that I decided I would use masking fluid to reserve some of my whites. I think I did. I don't know why I decided to use masking fluid. Looks like I missed some there anyway. But yeah, I just decided to go ahead with masking fluid, and I hope it's dry enough. And we'll find out, won't we? But at any rate, I really can't explain to you why I've been missing for so long here. It wasn't that I did have a heart attack a year ago in July, but praise God, everything is good, and I take a lot of medicine now, but everything is fine. And so that, that was kind of a bit unusual for me there, but other than that, there's really COVID hit, and I'm not a type of person that really misses going out and being out and about, so I I've wet the top of my paper here, by the way, and I'm going to drop in my Prussian and with a little bit of Payne's Gray mixed into it for my sky. And I'm just dropping it in and sort of letting it go where it wants to go here. Just kind of let it flow, and I might pick up my board, and I have the card taped down to a board here, and I may pick that up and kind of let it run. We'll see. But anyway, I just don't really know why I have been absent. I really, there wasn't any problems with YouTube. There wasn't any problems with any of my subbies who, if there's any of you still out there, I've always appreciated you and appreciated you watching and that type of thing. I have posted a few of my paintings on Instagram. I'm gonna bring this down here where the hill is, and kind of bring that up a little bit and just sort of let it trail off up like that. We'll see here what we get as far as the snow goes. I'm going to soften that a little bit. This paper is not, you know, not like working on arches or arch or, you know, some of the other papers. Of course, it's just not quite that kind of quality, but you know, it does okay for a little Christmas card, you know. I have napkins over here. I use, most of the time I use dinner napkins because they're kind of thick and heavy, and I can turn them and twist them and you know, get a lot of good out of them before I have to pitch them. So okay, well, we'll see what that does. I don't think I'm going to tip my paper up. I think it's, you know, my sky is kind of working out okay the way it is. Soften a little bit around the snowman here. Where it made a couple of hard edges that I don't want. I want it to be kind of soft and wintry, snowy looking. So, okay, so we're gonna have to probably let this dry. So I will pause it and let this dry. I'm not gonna use my heat tool on it, I don't think, because of the masking fluid. So we'll let this dry, and I'll pause you and be right back. Okay, I'm back and it's dry. And I've mixed up a puddle of sap green and Prussian blue from my M-Gram palette. And I also mixed up a puddle right here, whoopsie, right there, of the sap green and Prussian blue, only a lot more Prussian blue, stronger, and a little bit of Payne's Gray, which really has a blue tint to it in the M-Gram. So I'm going to start my trees with that mixture, and I'm using the number 6 Silver Black Velvet. And we'll see. It's been a while since I've painted any pine trees or trees of any kind. I've painted landscapes with the other kind of tree. What are they called? Deciduous? I don't know. Is that right? Anyway, I've painted those kinds of trees, but I haven't painted any Christmassy trees or fir trees for a while. So we'll see how this goes. I think I'm going to come in with a little tiny bit of, I've got some brown over here that I sort of mixed up. It's a combination of, I think, this transparent iron oxide and maybe a little bit of the Payne's Gray. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of a decent looking brown. This Payne's Gray in Daniel Smith, as I said, it's a blue, very bluish. I think some other Payne's Grays are maybe not quite as blue, but I'm going to put a little bit of a trunk in here as well. Just kind of hit and miss, not a solid trunk all the way up through, because you're not going to see a solid trunk all the way up through. You're going to see it hit and miss. And just sort of nondescript on the bottom. Okay. And it's kind of afterthought there, wasn't it? But that's okay. And I've got the darker shade of green, of kind of an evergreeny color. To bring, to put in too as well, that I showed you. I think it will give the trees some more depth. So I'll fill in a little bit more with that other color here. Make that not so same on that side. This is meant to be just a really quick, little easy little painting that you can do, like I say, for a Christmas card, so that you can, Christmas is busy enough, people don't need to have to worry so much about taking forever to make a card for people, and it's kind of a personal thing, and I don't send out many cards at all, really, but what I do send out, I try to make them something that I've done. Actually painted myself. When I get this video done, I'm going to have to figure out how to do my editing program again, because I haven't done that forever either. Oh, I'm hopeless. Okay. So I do hope and pray that everyone has kept safe during this trying time that we face right now, with the pandemic still going going and praying that that it will finally be behind us soon. Yeah, just when the Delta variant came through where I live here, both of my grandsons who were too young to get vaccinated got COVID. That was kind of a scary thing for us all. They are 7 years old and 9 years old, and they did not get ill. I mean, as far as being seriously ill, you know, they praise the Lord, they were able to fight it off. Okay, so now I'm going to use that real strong. You can just barely see it there. There it is, right here, right there. That stronger bluey green color. I'm going to fill in a little bit with that. And like I said, sometimes I don't use the masking fluid, and it will make a big difference whenever I take the masking fluid off, and then I can also check out and see if I need to fill in any more or change things up a bit or anything like that, you know. My watercolors, my painting, I've been dabbling a bit with chalk pastels, or soft pastels is what they're called, I guess. Been dabbling a bit with those, and also with oil pastels. I've done a couple things with those. So, and I'm going to try to make some more videos for you if anyone is still interested. I'm going to try. Like I said, I really don't know what the deal was. I really don't. I mean, you know, I don't know. But I just stopped making my videos for a while there. Been quite some time. And like I said, I do appreciate it if there's any of you that are still out there. Leave me a comment if there is, and say hi if you can. And like I said, I'm going to try to go ahead and, you know, keep doing a few videos here and there. I don't know, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was, you know, I had started doing, you know, quite a number of them each week, and I was trying to do that, and I'm still working 3 days a week, so I work from home, so that's a blessing. But you know, I don't know whether that's what it was, whether I just got burnout trying to do too many. I really don't know. Really can't tell you. So, because I know there's a lot of people that do way more videos than that, you know, out there. I mean, way more. So, it's definitely gotten something to do with just me and my crazy personality, I guess, or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna let the trees go for now, and let those dry and see what happens when I take the masking fluid up. And let's bring in a little bit more of our Prussian, and has a little of that Payne's Gray mixed into it. Like kind of a weak, watery mixture of it here. My water's green, so I really need to change my water. Let's see, I need to put a little bit of shading into the snowman. Let's get some of that back out. Like how that's broken. A bit too strong in there. I put a little scarf on this snowman, or I mean, I have it drawn on there. I don't know if that I'll keep it, but I did put a little scarf on him. Like I said, this paper's not the best for, you know, doing much to it, like lifting or anything like that, so yeah. But it's alright for a little Christmas card. I do have a website now where I sell my paintings. I will put a link to it in the description box below if anybody is interested. I don't advertise it any place other than, you know, on Instagram. I do have a link, I think, to it on Instagram. This is a tiny piece of magic eraser, and I'm going to use it to pull some of that back right there. Yeah, that's, can you see that? It's just a tiny, tiny piece of magic eraser that I use it. It depends on the paper, because some paper, you know, is just awesome and it'll lift for you without any issue or problem or anything like that. And other paper isn't the best. So if you just touch it with that, a magic eraser, you know, you can get a lot of lifting capability out of it. So that's what I decided to go with there. Got it. This is a silver white, little tiny filbert. Kind of a pointy filbert. I like these brushes too. I'm just going in there with the edge of that filbert to kind of define the edge of the snowman. Soften a little bit of some sharp edges there. I sure hope my head hasn't been in the way and all those crazy things that happen when you're filming. And I'm certain you just heard the air conditioning unit. I swear. You you should have seen my cats when they first installed that. I'm sorry, but it was too funny. They were looking around and their ears going every which way, trying to figure out what that noise was. Oh dear. And so I asked the gentleman doing it, if there was anything that could be done. And of course there wasn't anything that could be done. It's just the way it sounds. But I do apologize for the noise. Okay, so I'm going to pause it again. I'll come back and do when all this dries, and I'll come back and do take the masking off of the trees. And first I'll go ahead and do the little guy's hat. Let's do that first. And this is just Payne's Gray. This is just the Payne's Gray, because I've used it in other parts of this little picture, and so we'll just go ahead and keep the Payne's Gray. That'll give it some continuity. There's his hat. And these are his little arms, his little twigs for arms. I'll darken those up a bit then too, but I can go ahead and put them in now. There's snow on them, or masking fluid at this point. So I'm hoping that they look okay when the snow is off. All right, let's let that dry, and I'll be back when it's dry and we'll work some more. Okay, I'm back again, and I'm going to use this best test quality, whatever, pickup rubber cement eraser for my masking fluid. I just keep it in this little plastic, even though it's not new, but I just keep it in there. Keeps it clean, I guess, but you can see it is dirty on the corners some. But I'm hoping that this paper works okay. Yeah, because if it doesn't, this is going to be a disaster, because I've got a lot of masking fluid on here. But it seems to be lifting off perfectly fine without doing any damage to the paper. So that's good to know. Yeah, you should really actually test this out before you use it on papers that you're not familiar with. Which I did not with this card, with these little watercolor cards. But it just pulls the masking fluid right off, in which is nothing more than, well, than rubber, liquid rubber, or liquid latex, or whatever you want to call it. And it just pulls it up just like that in kind of a blob, and you just can remove it then. I'm using my hands to see if I've missed any. Now the only thing about masking fluid is it it leaves, it leaves the paper white, of course, but it also sometimes leaves like unnatural type shapes. So I usually try to go in and sort of, oh, I don't know how you want to describe it, but just like for his hat right here, there's a little like curl on the end of his hat, like it's curled up where the snow is laying, and I'll just kind of fix that a little bit. And you can put just you can just put like a light glaze over top of the masking fluid, and it will kind of soften those shapes. That's what I guess I'm trying to say. It'll soften the shapes a bit. And you can always, I'm not a purist, so you can always go in with white gouache, or Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed-proof white ink. Some people use like Prismacolor white pencil, which is very opaque, to kind of put highlights or do things like that in their watercolor to finish the watercolors out. And all of that, in my estimation, is absolutely fine. I don't. Some watercolorists feel that that's not, no longer a watercolor if you do that. And I imagine if you were perhaps entering your work in some sort of a contest or something, you would have to be mindful of, rules as far as whether you were allowed to do any other type of media with your watercolors, like the ones that I just mentioned, like the ink or the Prismacolor pencils or the gouache, or any of that. You'd have to make sure that that was not against the rules or whatever. But as far as not entering in any type of contest, I don't see a problem with using another type of media to enhance your paintings. And like I said, right now I'm just kind of going in and sort of softening some of the shapes of the white where I had the masking fluid, so that they don't look like so unnatural. I think you kind of get the idea of what I was trying to do here, and it should be fairly easy if you want to follow to make a couple cards, for your Christmas this year, to just jump in there and do it. I'm going to put a red scarf on him, because you gotta have a red scarf. You can't have any other colored scarf. I mean, you know, your snowman has to have a red scarf. Okay. There's his little red scarf. And let's give him some eyes. See if we can get some thick Payne's Gray here. And since those are probably little rocks, we don't want to make him look perfectly round. And how about a nose? I don't know if there would have been a carrot around whenever this person built this snowman, but I'll give him kind of an orangey colored nose. There we go. And there's his little nose. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make this just hair. Give that just a little bit more definition there on that little hill. Make the snow under the trees a little bit darker. Kind of a dry brush type effect there. And soften it just a bit. And let's put a little bit under the snowman too, just so he's not sitting there without any shadow under him. Alrighty. And I think if you were sending this to a friend or a family member or, you know, anyone really, that they would really enjoy having a card like this. Looks like I had a tiny little bit of that orange still in my brush, so I'm going to take that out right there. Not that it matters that much, but there. That's what you get for not rinsing out your brush properly. So remember to rinse out your brush properly whenever you're using a red and then going back to a different color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign this. Put it over here. And there we go. One last little bit of green right there. You know, now, of course, what's going to happen is this is going to, you know, sit here on my desk, and I'm going to look at it a little bit later and find stuff that I want to put in there, and I'm going to look at it tomorrow and I'm going to find stuff that I want to change and put in there, because that's just the way it goes. I mean, if I can't, I mean, if I don't get something done, you know, and let it go, that's a rarity. So, but that's okay. That's just the way it is. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape off of this and see how it does to remove tape from this particular paper. You pull the tape away from your work at almost, I believe that's a 90-degree angle. Away from your work, so that in case it does happen to tear, it's not going to tear into your work. But this seems to be working fairly well. I always take some of the sticky off of my tape anyway before I tape anything down, by sticking it to my clothes, you know, and sticking it and pulling it up and sticking it again and pulling it up, and it takes some of the sticky out of it. Okay, so there you go. There's the little Christmas card, and thanks everyone for watching, and many blessings to you, and I hope this isn't the last video I do for the next year and a half. So, bye everyone for now. And again, God bless you.